Hi, we're going to speak about our special issue, the climate change and family therapy issue for the Australian New Zealand Journal of Family Therapy.
Yeah, correct. And how it came about, a couple of minutes, and then we'll kind of go through some of the issue and what's in it, the content.
Sounds great.
So, what are
So,
your memories about how this came about?
yeah, I think that you and I, after it was way back in 2022, I think. And it was a pretty hard year for a lot of people. And you'd been noticing that in Europe and in the UK and other places, they'd been talking about, climate change and family therapy and how family therapists can open up conversations maybe between ourselves and with our families. And we started to think about who would we invite to contribute.
Yeah, correct. That's right. And that's a fantastic thing that there was this ongoing conversation already in the family therapy world, particularly in the UK.
Mm.
And we were able to tap into some of those people and put out feelers, and they responded really generously to it. I guess a lot of them quite emphatically and kind of taken up with the urgency of what we're grappling with, and which this issue is addressing, of course.
Yeah, that's right. And there were several climate crises or several, I guess, global events happening around that time. We had the floods in Australia and in other places they were experiencing, hot summers, that kind of thing where they wouldn't normally. And but that, beyond weather events, climate crisis is something huge and it really hooked into some of our thinking about family therapy and, as you said, yeah, back into our family therapy theories.
Yeah, correct. And indeed, the common thread amongst a lot of the papers is this link back to nature and Bateson in particular and the warnings he issued in the 70s and the very high priority for taking that wider systemic uh,
Mm.
aspect and perspective on what we are doing and how we are as people, how we as therapists interact with it's not just kind of in our therapy rooms, it's on the wider horizon of nature and
Yeah, yeah,
ecology. Yeah,
yeah. And living with each other in our communities, and how we've, impacted nature so profoundly and the planet itself so profoundly. And I think that that really came out in a lot of these issues that kind of from the individual in our clinics or counseling rooms right through to families, communities, and then the wider planet community.
that's right. And indeed, we did invite each contributor to say something about their practice and how
Mm.
you put some of these ideas into the therapy room.
Mm.
And some of them were really interesting. And we're
Mm.
going to give you a bit of a preview right now of what's in the issue.
Yeah, great. So well, if I start off that, I'll start with our list, and our list is in no particular order. Really, all of the articles on the list have equal weight and standing, and are really worth a read equally. So, the first one on my list I have here is the one by James Dunk and his colleagues, Navigating Family Systems in Climate Catastrophe, an open dialogue. Yeah, so that's yeah, really widening, broadening that dialogue. And then the article by Hugh Palmer and colleagues, The Pattern Which Connects, drawing parallels between family systems and climate change through Bateson's cybernetic epistemology. And that's, yeah, linking into what we were talking about some of the articles that go back, that one in particular that goes back to evoking Bateson and that ecological consciousness and mind. And then, yeah, the article Embracing Our More Than Human Family, Growing a Systemic Practice for Planetary Health and Multi-Species Justice by Kath Falco, Paul Rhodes, and James Dunk. And yeah, going beyond
The
our
human.
own centric,
Yes.
yeah, our own
Yeah.
centricism, centric nature toward the broader species that we inhabit the planet with. And we had a fantastic article by Mark Furlong encouraging the local relationships that build solidarity, thinking systemically about family therapy and climate change. And that was, yeah, that really lovely invitation to more kind of our work, our dialogue, and our listening to families as a bit of gentle activism, even, or just kind of the ways that we can join together and talk about these issues bravely. And then, yeah, an article entitled "Son, My Father Said to Me, Someday This Will All Be Yours: The Clinic, the Climate, and a Future" by Maria Nichterlein and her colleague.
John
Um,
Morse.
sorry?
John Morse, of
Yeah,
course.
John Noss.
A
Yeah,
long
yeah.
time colleague.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. Yeah. So that's linking back again to Bateson and introducing um, Deleuze and some other sort of more adventurous uh, philosophical realms that we
Hmm.
love being drawn into. Um, yeah, and then an article by Robert Moore, Ways of Being Systemic in a Time of Climate and Ecological Breakdown. And I think that's what you were referencing, Glenn, around the UK conversations that we were sort of bringing that back down under. So that was good. And then, yeah, I've got on my list Sybil Day, the climate change and mental health in children and adolescents, bringing it right into families. Mm,
Yeah, and particularly in an Australian context, which is
yes,
and the impacts on child and adolescent mental health, which I
yes,
found really interesting. Yeah,
yep.
uh,
What have
and
you got
yeah,
on your
well,
list?
sorry.
What have you got on your list?
Oh, yes. Well, continuing on, I mean, we've got a list of 13 papers here.
Mm,
I've got Roger Duncan and Melda McCarthy following Adrian's imaginal thread through the labyrinth. A fascinating picture of kind of looking at family therapy and climate change and the
mm,
whole question through that metaphor, which was
mm,
a lovely paper.
mm.
And number 9 was Rana Rose Coconut,
Coconut?
family
Yep.
therapy and climate breakdown, being systemic inside collapse.
Mm,
Again,
mm,
this whole challenge of how we are systemic when
mm,
we're confronting these very important issues that are kind of on the wider picture.
mm,
Ava Disney, who looked at uh, parenthood, how we can talk to parents, how children can be talking to parents. And her paper is called Uniting the Goals of Parenthood and Environmentalism as a Route to Climate Action. Then we had this wonderful paper called
mm,
A Small Incident in the Mountains by Andres Breton and Hugh Palmer.
mm.
Um, and wow, I mean, gee, that was really a creative piece of moving,
Yeah.
and it very much linked to a concert I saw called
Mm,
Norwegian Tradition Reimagined by Benedict Moore Seth, a
mm,
contemporary group, who really evoked some of the experiences of animals in the Alps as the climate
mm,
changes.
mm,
And I can highly recommend that from a musical point of view.
mm.
Number 12 was Emile Ellis, Climate Informed Teaching and Supervision in Couple and Family Therapy. And as it suggests, it takes you more into the whole question of what's happening in our institutions
Yeah.
around training and teaching and supervision
Yeah.
and how we can take that approach. And the last paper is by Chiara Santon. Again, another wonderful paper about the Alps, Letter to the Alpine Glaciers and Ecosystemic Therapy,
Mm,
which was actually an article that we sought, and she graciously contributed to the issue.
Yeah.
So there you have it, a kind of a bit of a bird's eye view, if you like, of the issue. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Sonia, do you want to give a last personal reflection from reading all of these articles, how it impacted you?
Yeah, I think I drew from every article again that invitation to be thinking about the broader um, crises that are facing us, but in a really poetic way, and drawing on things that family therapy knows, our systemic thinking, expanding our systemic thinking, drawing on our wonderful Indigenous colleagues and the way that they approach uh, the climate systems and nature and their personal interactions, and just kind of, yeah, to step into brave spaces, realizing that families are really affected by things that are close to them, the crises that they might experience, and the big how we get our heads around the big phenomena of our planet in crisis. So there was just so much, so much richness from each of the articles speaking
Yeah.
into that. Mm,
Okay, that's a very nice way of putting it.
mm,
So I hope, as readers and listeners here and watchers, that you will be invited to go on a similar journey and think about your situation and what you think about this issue and how it affects you and the families that you see and the work you do.
mm.
And I guess that's what this issue is all about. And just to say that it's a conversation that will keep going because
Yeah,
this issue will be a special collection on the website of the ANZJFT, and we will add relevant articles as they come along. For example, our next special issue is on Indigenous
mm,
and informed knowledge and practices. And some of those articles are actually touching on a similar theme around climate change and the planet. So
yeah,
anyhow, we look forward to any of your contributions.
yeah.
If you're challenged or inspired to write and contribute to the journal. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.